My name's David Whitla. I'm the Associate Pastor at Southside Reformed Presbyterian Church in Indianapolis, and I'm also the Chairman of the Youth Ministries Committee of Synod. The Youth Ministries Committee is designed to encourage and support the work of youth ministry throughout the denomination, and there are several ways in which we do that. One thing that we have been doing in the last several years has been to encourage the work in new presbytery works. Several presbyteries have not had youth ministry for a long time. And so what we have done is we've given seed monies to help the presbytery representatives of those presbyteries to do that work. And so we've seen a real explosion of interest in youth work in presbyteries where before there really has not been much going on. One of the things that has been most encouraging to us of late has been to see a real hunger with our young people, a desire to put their roots down. One of the goals of our committee, I should say, is to encourage and to foster a desire to put their theological roots down. We want kids to understand why they believe what they believe, and one of the ways we do that is we put on theological foundations programs. These take two forms. The first and most established one is the Theological Foundations for Youth program. This is a 3-week program that's co-sponsored by our seminary, and what we do is we take about 30 high school juniors from all across the denomination. We bring them to the seminary, and we have a residential program there where they are taught the theology, the Reformed distinctives of our church. They are also taught church history, apologetics, evangelism, and what we found with this is that the young people really begin to understand why they believe what they believe. And that's very important that our kids have that grounding as they are going to go into college situations, many of them into a secular college situation. We want to make sure that they're well grounded in their faith. Another thing we do in that program is in the second of the 3 weeks, we send them out to local congregations and they do service projects there. Essentially, they have a mini domestic short-term mission team, and it gives them an opportunity to develop leadership skills. It gives them an opportunity to put into practice what they've learned in the classroom. We don't simply want our young people to gain head knowledge, but we want them to have a heart, a passion for Christ and for His church, and we want them to be able to find ways in which they can put those things into practice. We also give them exposure to the mission field. We give them opportunities, open doors for them to serve in short-term missions, to show them what programs are available. Many young people in our day and age in different churches, they want to serve the Lord, they want to serve the church, but they're never given an opportunity. They simply aren't shown which doors are open to them. And so what we want to do with the Theological Foundations programs is we want to say, you have gifts, Christ wants you to serve Him in His church, and here are the avenues that are open to you in the Reformed Presbyterian Church. It's a wonderful thing to see kids excited about Christ and about serving Him in His church, and we want to open those doors for them. Another thing that Youth Ministries Committee has done is to sponsor Theological Foundations weekends. And these are like mini TFY programs that take place throughout the presbyteries. And that's the program that we're currently focused on. Much of the RPM&M money is going to helping stimulate these kinds of programs. And we're excited to see several of those developing at this time. So another way we use RPM&M money is we try to stimulate young people who are perhaps in isolated congregations to see that they are part of a bigger church. And we have provided scholarships for those young people to come to more established presbytery youth events. We're delighted to see young people beginning to cross presbytery boundaries to come to more established events, to build connections and friendships across the denomination. Essentially, we're trying to Presbyterianize youth ministry in our denomination, and the Lord has blessed us in many ways to see that happen. The connectedness that exists within our congregations is something that our children, our young people are beginning to relish. Another way in which we do that on the committee is we sponsor the youth program at the RP International Conference, and that's been a real joy for us in the last 2 years. The last 2 international conferences we've done this, and it's wonderful to have 200, 300, 400 young people from across the country, and we've been able to sponsor activities and events for that. Again, it's been great to see bridges being built, particularly to young people who maybe they're the only kid in their church, and it's great for them to see that there are other young people who are committed to the same position of worship, the same doctrines about the mediatorial kingship of Christ, and it's just wonderful to see those things being fostered. Another event that YMCS sponsors is an event that's designed to equip parents, Sabbath school teachers and youth leaders in our congregations with the tools that they need for effective youth ministry in their congregations and in their homes. This is an event that we put on, one in each presbytery. It's organised by the presbytery-sponsored representatives on our committee, and what we do is we bring in a speaker, and we have a day-long seminar, usually on a Saturday morning and afternoon. We invite all the youth leaders in that presbytery to come, and there's a good opportunity for Q&A, a good opportunity to consider perhaps new methods for reaching out to young people and encouraging them to be involved with the church. And this is another project that we found to be just very successful. We want to not simply be equipping young people, we also want to be equipping the equippers. We want to be equipping adults who have a vision for youth ministry. And we also want to model for these youth leaders youth ministry in all its various forms. It's a particular delight for those of us who have been on the committee for some time to see young people that have come through our programs staying in the church and themselves having a vision for youth ministry. And that's something that we're beginning to see with increasing frequency. So for example, in our TFY program, we have many TFY alumni. They are now wanting to sign up to be counsellors at our programs. And we're also seeing in the field of missions several young people who are now going to serve in the mission field around the world, both long-term and short-term. When you interview these kids, many of them say that what first gave them that vision for the nations came at a TFY, at a fall retreat, at a winter conference put on by one of our presbyteries. Once again, RPM&M has supplied us with the funds that we've been able to use to put on these events and to instill that vision in the hearts of our young people. And so we're thankful to all of you who have given. We take the money, we seek to be good stewards of that, and we found in youth ministry that a little bit of money goes a very long way. The young people of the Reformed Presbyterian Church are not simply the future of the church, they are also the present of the church. They are people who God has given gifts to, and it's a delight to see them continuing to serve Christ in the present and also to look and cast a vision for what the church could yet be in the future.